What's up guys, Nolan here, and today we're talking about spawns on Interchange. BSG have already said that they will be changing the spawns on all of the maps in the future, but for now we know where they all are, and it leaves a lot of players quite literally out in the open if they don't know them well enough. I'm going to go through each of the 9 major spawn areas and explain what you'll probably see as well as my go-to movement for each. I'll start by saying that my default is always just to get inside the mall as soon as possible no matter what. If I want to have a good normal raid, I try to get to the closest entrance as soon as possible. We're going to start with one of the most dangerous spawns, which is the southwest corner. If you see that you spawn here, you have to decide what to do based off of your capabilities. If you have no way of fighting mid to long ranges, then for one, you brought the wrong gear, but for two, you need to get inside as soon as possible. There's 2 ways of doing that. Head to blue fence and wait a few minutes to see who comes by, or beeline it to the garage immediately. Most of the time, you will spawn with players to your right in the southern spawn and to your left in the scav camp spawn. If you're super unlucky, both will be looking for you, but the one on the right is more often the bigger threat. Either direction, you have a possibility of getting caught in the open, but I always go left here. Going left allows you to continue forward and has only one reasonable threat spawn. If you go right, you could be caught from the person that spawned in the south but took a long time to get moving. However, they more than likely are in the garage already. The other threat that you have here is the southeast spawn at this point. There's a possibility that anyone else that spawned down to the southeast has moved this direction, and if the southern spawning player is in the garage, it will leave you sandwiched between them and the people that spawned in the southeast. This spawn in general can be gut-wrenchingly difficult because the longer you wait, the more likely you will get surrounded. My go-to strategy for this spawn is to beeline it into the garage while being cautious of the southern spawn almost entirely. I try to get into Ollie or even to the right and up the caved-in roof and into the mall. The place I most often fight here is in the garage, and I find the southern player waiting in the dark, either close in the containers or far by the tents. Both put them at a massive advantage. And if you're not confident with that fight, you need to try and get into Ollie or just get out of the garage in general. I do see players on my right very often, but if I don't shoot them, most of the time they don't actually see me. I wait until I can get into better cover and positioning in general because the parking lot is too open, but if I wait too long and if the fight is really noisy, then that leaves the people that spawned more north of me to come up behind me, and that is why this spawn is the most dangerous. The second most dangerous spawn is the southeast, aka Emercom spawn. You can often spawn here with players spawning to the left and right of you. There's not many places that you can go. You need to be cautious of the spawn from the top of the ramp in front of you and the spawn to the left up against the wall in the trees. Both have height on you, while again you have very little options to move. The good news is it's obvious when those are a threat because you spawn relatively close by and can theoretically deal with them quickly if you are a good shot and are looking for them. Usually the person at the top of the ramp is too cocky to worry about being seen, and if you focus your attention there while you move up, you might be able to catch them before they catch you. They need to look at a wide area while you only need to focus on one specific location. Then once you're close to the ramp, start to worry about your potential spawn on the left and go from there. My go-to movement here is exactly that. I push sort of left and follow the divot with the bushes for concealment until I get up closer to the ramp. Then I follow the wall to the garage entrance and make my way in from there while looking for movement out at the opposite wall. Now that we've talked about the most difficult spawns, let's talk about the easiest, of which there are 2, the service road and the southeast ramp. If you spawn at either of these, you are sitting pretty as you are the closest to the juice on the map. From the service road, you can easily run in and jump up the elevator shaft to the back of the Goshen, and then from there, anywhere in the mall. You can also go north and try to ambush whoever is at power station, because if you spawn here, you can practically guarantee someone is at power station. You of course can go south too, but your advantages on the players at the power station are better. If you spawn at the top of the ramp, you can either try to snipe the players around you or head in to rat up Ollie or the tech stores, as you will be the closest person to Ollie and the tech stores. My go-to strategy differs with both of these spawns depending on my equipment. If I have a rat kit, I book it to the tech stores. If I have a long-range capable kit, I try to fight the players around me as soon as possible. If I have a good CQC kit, I run to see if Killa is there and grab him, because apart from the scav camp, these 2 spawns are the closest that you can be to Killa. When you're at the power station, you have a serious decision to make. You can either spend a few minutes looting it or completely ditch it and run into the mall. The reason why you ditch it is because of the other spawns around you. You can very easily get trapped in the corner by one or even both close by spawns if you're really unlucky. If you take too long, you may get a cheeky player that makes their way up to the top of the closest ramp, and you'll have a serious mid to long range fight on your hands where they can move freely because they have the height on you and you won't be able to see them, and they will have you trapped in a corner. It really is up to you, depending on your loadout and capabilities, what to do from here. My go-to from here is to leave the power off and run immediately up the ramp while being cautious of players running down the service road to my left. You'll be surprised how many people you can catch just running in the open down the road. From there, I either go left into the Goshen or right into the back of Idea. Either direction has a high chance of running into players, with the hot spots starting at the Ultra to Idea entrance, where you can find players running right to left into Ultra. If you go left, you have the midpoint of the Goshen loading docks, where you can find players right there or all the way down the hall. And from those points, anything could happen, so keep your eyes open. Again, for all of these spawns, I just try my best to get into the mall as quickly as possible, but usually run into players in long range fights on the way there. So if I were you guys, unless you have a super specific reason not to, I would try to have a weapon with at least a 4-time optic on it. Going back to the spawns, in the northwest spawn, you practically always will have someone spawn to your left over by construction, and you can usually catch them in the open. If you have a very ballsy player or you make too much noise, you might get them coming from your right over at Scav Camp, but I very rarely see that happen. Depending on my capabilities, I either go straight across the parking lot into the central entrance of Ultra, or to the left and through construction, then around into the mall using the garage for Idea. Scav Camp gets you in a lot of trouble because it's pretty open on both sides, leaving little options if you get caught here. This makes Scav Camp a no-brainer for me. I always book it to the front of Ultra, where I go up the central escalators and try to get to the tech stores from there, or for Killa, depending on my capabilities. Both are very good from this spawn. The southern spawn leaves you in an interesting position. You have a solid chance at Killa if you go to the back garage, and you have a great position on any players coming from the west if you go into the front garage. Depending on my capabilities or tasks, I do either of those. Most of the time, I go right and go for Killa from here because this is the spawn that I have the highest success rate with him. I just run all the way through and then to the caved-in roof and up. Last but not least, we have the north spawn. This whole construction area is difficult, but at the same time can be easy because you might not run into anyone here. You have a chance of running into players on your left if you spawn under the roadway, so be careful of that. And you are sort of in a corner here, but I usually don't have any issues as long as I don't wait around. My go-to for this spawn is to book it to the Idea front entrance and then go up the stairs and across into Ultra. The hotspots here are when you get to this corner with the truck and bus between the mall and the go-karts. You can sometimes see the players that spawn on your left here. The second hotspot is when you are almost through Idea. You can occasionally see players down the hall on your left coming through Idea. Otherwise, you should be the closest to Emercom as well as one of the closest to Killa from here. The most common killer on Interchange around spawns is people waiting too long and not knowing what directions to worry about. If you don't spawn in late and you make your way into the mall as soon as you can while keeping an eye on the danger areas I explained, your survival chances will go up significantly. That is my surviving spawn guide for Interchange. I hope it helps you guys out. If you want to learn more about Escape from Tarkov or its development, then you can check out my playlist for it here. If you're looking for people to play with, then you can join our Discord below. If you like this video, then you know the drill. I really appreciate the people who do. Otherwise, I hope you at least learned something, and I also hope you have a nice day. That's it for the tutorial here, guys, but now we're moving on to some gameplay that I got way back around the beginning of the wipe several weeks ago. I was farming Interchange in general, but I got just a little sidetracked. You guys clearly like the extra gameplay at the end of videos, so I'll try to make this a more permanent thing as long as the gameplay doesn't actually deserve its own video. It's just small clips here and there, which is exactly what we're going to see now. Again, that is it for the Interchange spawn tutorial. This is just some extra gameplay I have from a few weeks ago. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I also hope you have a nice day. See you guys.
Да ты что там пиздишь? Вон он, сука! Вон он, вон он! Вон он упырь! Вон он, блядь! Ебашь его! О, вижу их! Ты куда пошел?